Yo, what up, guys? I'm about to go in on this. I'm about to go in on this because they are salty over there on the left. They can't stand when somebody drops the truth on them. Candace Owens just wiped the floor with Democrats. And what's funny about it is they always attack the messenger. They never attack the message. I know that firsthand. Every time I drop a truth bomb, people come after me like, that hat is stupid. You're dumb. They can never say anything. They can never refute the facts or the evidence. When you drop that truth on them, they can't do anything except attack you. So I was just on Twitter. If you guys been looking on Twitter, it's nothing. It's like post after post after post just attacking Candace, going after her, calling her an anti-Tom, pretty much confirming and validating everything that she said in that Judiciary Committee. Like, she just went off on them and they got nothing for her, nothing. And I'm going to go down the list and start with the black community. First, I'm going to start with the black hypocrites. People like Tariq Nasheed going on Twitter. Instead of attacking the message or agreeing or disagreeing with the message, he calls out that Candace claimed she was Caribbean back in the day. Like, oh, she's not a spokeswoman for the black community. And he brings up some picture or some social media or something where she used to be, she claimed to be Caribbean. Who cares? What does that matter? See, that's what the left does. They're like, you're not allowed to change. Who you were is who you are. We always have to play by their rules. This is why we're fighting this culture war, guys. This is exactly why we're fighting a culture war, because the left wants to control the narrative. They want to spin the narrative. They want to lie. They do it time and time again. And then when they get called out and exposed by somebody, they double down on it. They double down, just like AOC. AOC going out there with that fake accent. She gets called out for it. She's like, actually, this is how we talk in the South Bronx, baby. She doubles down on it instead of saying, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't know I was talking in an accent. I didn't realize I was going to offend people. I care about black people truly. But no, she doesn't care about black people truly. And she doesn't have she has the audacity to double down on her mistake. And that's what the left is doing. And that's what these black hypocrites are doing. These black hypocrites, I call them black hypocrites because out of one side of their mouth, they're like, my racism, my white supremacy, my white privilege. They're always talking about white people. White people, oh my God, white nationalism is on the rise. But then on the other side of their mouth, they're like, you're an Uncle Tom Coon sellout, house Negro. You know, that's what I mean by these black hypocrites. They're like, oh my gosh, black lives so matter. I love black lives. Except black conservatives. I don't care about them. You know, all this talk about white supremacy and white people are going to kill black people. White people are doing this. White people are doing that. White people don't have time to oppress black people. We oppress ourselves. White people aren't killing black people. We're killing ourselves. Didn't Nipsey Hussle just get gunned down in his neighborhood? By black people. Black people kill black people. Black people attack people on Twitter. Black people on Twitter. We go after each other. We cannibalize. So I don't want to hear nothing else about white supremacy, white privilege, white power. None of that. Oh, we need to ban it from the internet. Why? Is their message that powerful? The 10 white nationalists in America, we need to focus on them. It's a way to deflect. So I really hate that. I really hate the hypocrisy. And that's why I pinned it in my comments. I said, watch this. Watch these pro-blacks, some of these pro-blacks that they're all this, oh, you know, Wakanda forever and ADOS, all of that. They attack any black person who disagrees with them. They hate those black people, but they claim to love black people at the same time. Mental gymnastics. You're doing mental gymnastics every time you say that. Every time you're like, oh, I love blacks, you know, we need to come together and stick together. But it's like, oh, yeah, here's a 3x5 index card of approved opinions. Any black person that doesn't share those approved opinions, we're going to lynch them in the public town square. We'll call them out on social media. We'll embarrass them in public. High-tech lynching. That's what they do. And that's what they're trying to do to Candace Owens right now. So those are the black hypocrites. Okay. Now let's talk about white Democrats. Racist white Democrats. They quadruple down on their racism. You notice how people like, who has she had Twitter feuds with? She's gone after Alyssa Milano, Chelsea Handler, a bunch of other random white elitists on Twitter. And they go out, like, I believe Chelsea Handler called her an Uncle Tom once upon a time. And white Democrats who stand out front and claim to champion black issues and we love black people, they are the most racist people. So between racist white Democrats and hypocrite blacks, that is the problem. That is the actual problem. But they're pointing the finger at Republicans. They're pointing the finger at conservatives. They're talking about Hitler and nationalism. And Candace Owens there's videos of her on Twitter right now with Hitler mustaches because the left is raining tears because she just dropped truth bombs and they can't attack her message. They can only attack her. That's all the left can do. They don't have any facts. They can't refute any arguments or any claims. They reduce to ad hominem attacks. They have descended into a bottomless pit of hatred and negativity and darkness. That's all they're about. And I just had to expose it. And they know that they have nothing but low IQ minions that they can just infuse into a pitchfork mob and send after whoever. You know, when they took that white nationalist or that Hitler thing out of context, it's because they knew people wouldn't fact check it. They're like, hey, just like they knew with the Covington Catholic kids, they knew that nobody would fact check it. That's why CNN ran with the narrative. They took that narrative and ran with it. They're like, yep, this Native American man, he served in Vietnam, and these 4 black men, they were just standing there innocently preaching about the Bible. And here's a little clip of these white kids in MAGA hats taunting this poor, innocent, sweet Native American elder. They do that because they know they have low IQ followers. People who watch CNN have low IQs. People who watch MSNBC either have low IQs or they're brainwashed. You're either brainwashed or you're brain dead if you're following the left. So this guy, Ted Lieu, playing the little clip of Candace Owens talking about Hitler and nationalism and how Hitler was actually a globalist. He wasn't a nationalist. She wasn't defending him. But because they played a clip where it sounded like she's defending him, like, oh, I love Adolf Hitler, they're able to then spin a narrative like, look it, Candace Owens is just a blackface for white supremacy. They're able to do that. And most people, because they don't require context to formulate an opinion, they will formulate an opinion based on someone else's opinion or a headline, because the left, they don't care about the truth. They care about feel. They want to feel things. They're like, I really want to feel a certain way, so let me seek the validation for my feelings. I've already decided that I want to hate white people, so let me seek out content that's going to validate my beliefs, even though the truth would suggest the other, the opposite, right? The left is out there with their leftist media. They want me as a black person to think that there is going to be a white person that oppresses me or stops me from getting what I want in life or doing anything that I want to do. They want me to think it's white people doing it. In reality, if I were to get shot and killed, if anything happened to me, it's 90% sure or 90% chance that it's a black person that did it. Black people kill more black people than white people. That is a fact. It is statistical. It's not up for debate or discussion. But the left has programmed so many in this country to believe that the biggest problem is some white nationalist, this specter. It's a ghost. It's a ghost. The people who are actual white supremacists and white nationalists, they have no political power. They have no economical power. They have no social media presence. They can't even get a freaking bank account half the time. So why are we worried about them? Why are we propping up David Duke? Why are we propping up these people that are like non-factors? It's because the left wants to control the freaking narrative. And they do it so effectively because people don't fact check them. So this guy, Ted Lieu, goes and plays this clip in front of the Judiciary Committee to try to smear Candace Owens, and she ripped him. And then some white Democrat guy gets up there, is like, Candace Owens, he said something like, we're not going to let you slander someone. You can't use slanderous language. You can't say someone's stupid. In reality, she's like, no, he's playing that clip because he thinks black people are stupid. And because he does think black people are stupid, he literally thinks black people are stupid. And it's not just white people that think black people are stupid. It's black Democrats. It's the left. Our problems in this country are not race. It's not race. I have said 1,000 times. And I have to tell people this too, because a lot of these leftists come in my comment section, or they actually send me messages on Facebook, and they say, you're, What are you saying? Go join the Republican Party? You think Republicans are better? No, I don't think the Republican Party is better. I don't think the problems in our country, the problems in our world, quite frankly, have to do with political parties. It has to do with right and wrong, good versus evil, freedom versus tyranny, right? Right side of history versus the wrong side of history. That's what it is. That's what the divide is. And that divide, that dividing line transcends everything. Race, sexual orientation, transgender, all of that. It transcends all of that. And so people don't understand that. So what I'm saying is they're trying to frame it as, oh, well, all these black conservatives, they're just tap dancing for Republicans to try to get black people to go vote Republican. That's not the answer. You think the other party's the answer? They try to act like they're so woke. They're like, neither party is for us. So what's the point of doing that? I'm like, okay, you have no answers. You're not telling me anything else. You have no solutions. Somebody came into the comments on the video I made the other day when I was talking about ALC using black voice. And I went back and forth with him for a little bit. No, actually it could have been on Facebook. I don't even remember. But he was pretty much saying, yeah, neither party's for us. Trying to get people to go vote Republican, that doesn't do anything. But he didn't provide any solutions. So I'm like, okay, wise guy, what's your answers? Share your divine wisdom that you have. Since you're so divine, you've got all this wisdom and knowledge, and you know what's best. You know what we should be doing. Set up a YouTube channel. Do something. Say something. Come on my live stream and debate me. No, you won't, because I'll run circles around you. So that just makes me mad. They always attack the messenger, but never the message. They can't ever attack the message. They have nothing to refute. And they have useful idiots. The people that buy this stuff, the people that retweet their favorite social justice activists on Twitter, I'm sorry, we just have to say it. They're dumb. They're useful idiots. They will be sheep that are led to the slaughter, unfortunately. We just have to continue to be the louder voice. We have to be the louder voice. We're the more effective voice. We're not the louder voice. We're the more effective voice, which is why they want to deplatform everybody, which is why they have to take up all these insane positions. And they make these hyperbolic, crazy statements like black white supremacists, like calling Ben Shapiro a Nazi, calling Candace Owens a white supremacist. None of it makes sense. You have to do mental gymnastics to make sense of someone that is black, but also a white supremacist. You have to do mental gymnastics. If you're a black person and you disagree and you're watching right now, you're literally doing mental gymnastics. If you're going to sit there and be like, oh, more white supremacy, that's the problem. Nipsey Hussle just got killed by a black person. There are black people right now in Chicago, Cleveland, Philadelphia, New York City. They're getting killed by black people. They're getting killed by black people. That is a fact. But you're focused on white people. White people don't have time. They couldn't kill black people because black people are killing black people faster. So if you're a true white supremacist in America, you're probably sitting back like, oh man, I love this. I love what the left is doing. They got black America brainwashed into thinking that I'm the real problem, when in reality, they're their own worst enemy. I love it. So a true white nationalist, a true white supremacist, a true racist would support the Democrats. Democrats are the ones that promote abortion. Abortion clinics are in black neighborhoods. Black people commit more abortions than any other race, proportional to our race, not more by number. It might be more by number. I don't think it's more by number, but it's more in proportion to our 13% of the population. Black on black crime. Look at black cities run by Democrats since the 1950s. If I'm a white nationalist, white supremacist, racist, and I hate black people, I would pull the lever for Democrats because they're keeping us in the same position, spinning our wheels. That's what Democrats have done so effectively. And they've programmed black people to hold up the pitchfork on their side. And then they believe the party switch. So it's mental gymnastics to sit there and believe that it's the other side, Republicans, conservatives, Donald Trump. They're the ones that are making black people in this situation. Black people are in this situation because of them. But then they can't even look around their own neighborhoods and see that Democrats have been running them since the 1950s. Democrat politicians, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, all of them been running black neighborhoods for that long. Okay, so tell me again why it's Donald Trump's fault when you got poverty pimps like Maxine Waters, Sheila Jackson Lee. Their neighborhoods, their districts look like third world countries. You got poor people, you got drugs, you got crime, you got dilapidated housing, and these are black plantation masters. They're gatekeepers. They go out there talking about reparations. We're going to get reparations. Yeah, let's get all these Democrat politicians. Let's get Cory Booker and Elizabeth Warren to come and say, we're going to give you reparations. And the lowest of the low IQ will sit there and applaud it like, yes, 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 Hillary Clinton. Yes, AOC, I believe you mean well. I believe you mean well. So that's why I say, if you support the Democrat Party, you are one of two things, brainwashed or brain dead. If you're brainwashed, you've done the mental gymnastics necessary to justify supporting them. You're like, even though she just talked like a black person, I don't think she's actually trying to do that. She's just trying to relate. You know, it's like when you talk to a baby or you talk to a dog, you can tend to talk a little different. You know, like, how you doing? You've justified it in your mind. And if you are brain dead, you just don't even freaking know. You're like, oh man, I'm so glad someone finally gets it. I'm glad that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's going to make it right with her Green New Deal. Everything's going to be better. All we got to do is tax these rich, wealthy, racist, white Republican devils out. We got to get them out, and then life will be better. Then we'll have our utopian society. Democrats know their audience, which is why their audience is young, which is why Bernie Sanders has a groundswell of college students supporting him. College students, people that are still on their parents' insurance, support Bernie Sanders. What does that tell you? What does that tell you when I had less information about politics 2 years ago? I didn't know shit about politics other than Democrat donkey, Republican elephant, blah, blah, blah. I just knew a few things about politics. And when I knew less about politics, I was more on the left. And people liked my position. I had more friends with less information. Now that I have more information, people unfollow me on Instagram. People who call themselves friends unfollow me on Instagram. They like me better when I posted pictures of tacos on Instagram. But now that I'm dropping truth bombs and presenting information that contradicts the leftist narrative, they're like, no, I can't deal with Mike anymore. He's crazy. He's off the deep end. I got to unfollow him. I can't be his friend. Somebody said I love tacos. I love tacos too, which is when I had more Instagram followers. But now when I'm saying, hey, look, here's Donald Trump signing prison reform into law. This is literally the right side of history, and that's not up for debate. You can't sit there and tell me Donald Trump signing prison reform is the wrong side of history. It's not possible for you to say that, right? He's had black people at the White House, run-of-the-mill black people, me, everyday, average, blue-collared, working American black people. That's who Donald Trump's bringing to the White House. Who'd Obama bring to the White House? Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, Jay-Z and Beyonce. He brings wealthy black people to the White House. Which one of those situations is on the right side of history? We're going to look back and say, are we going to look back and say, I'm glad we destroyed capitalism. I'm glad we got socialism in America. I'm glad we destroyed all the freedom, the last country on earth where you had the most freedom. I'm glad we destroyed that. Are we really going to look back, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, really going to look back and be like, I'm glad we got rid of that freedom, and now it's just tyranny for everybody. It's equality of poverty. Nobody has anything. Nothing gets invented anymore. We're lining up for bread. Damn it. I wish my grandparents had fought harder for capitalism. Are we really going to look back and say, I'm glad that we passed late-term abortion and now you can kill babies outside the womb? They're going to look back and say, that was insane. I'm so glad we got rid of that. I'm so glad people came to their senses and realized unborn babies are people. You can't make this stuff up, guys. You can't make it up. The truth is always, always, always stranger than fiction, but hopefully one day it won't be. Hopefully one day it won't be. But until then, we're going to keep fighting this culture war. We're going to keep exposing the Democrats for who they are. They're still wearing the Klan hoods, but they traded it in for a tie and a suit. They've put it in blackface. They've put it in Asian. They've got Hispanics that are Democrats because it helps them lead the sheep to the slaughter. LBJ is happy in his grave. He is happy from the other side because he said he'll have those N-words voting Democrat for 200 years. And so many black people are still going to pull the lever for Democrats. They're like, yeah, I don't care what you're saying. I don't care that the grass is green and the sky is blue. I've been told that the grass is blue and the sky is green. And because a Democrat told me that, I'm voting Democrat. I'm sorry if that sounds insulting. It's true. It's the truth. I'm telling the truth. If I'm lying, tell me the hell that's a lie. Can anybody tell me how I've said a lie? That there are a lot of people who are just that dumb, and there are a lot of people who are just that brainwashed. And the ones that are smart, that are hip to the game, that's your Maxine Waters. That's your Sheila Jackson Lee. That's your Al Sharpton. That's your Jay-Z and Beyonce. These are your LeBron Jameses, your Colin Kaepernicks, your Jussie Smolletts. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're playing gatekeepers. Gatekeepers to the liberal mental thought plantation. Same thing in the white community. It's not just the black community. Like I said, this divide is cultural and it's spiritual. And there are people from all walks of life on either side of this. It's just, which side do you want to be on? Which side are you on in this spiritual warfare? Because the way that they're doing Candace Owens right now is no different than the way that they did Larry Elder, the way they did Thomas Sowell, the way they did Clarence Thomas back in the day. You know, I could go deeper and talk about how Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, that's how it's always been. It's how it's always been. Any black person that doesn't participate in that monolithic thinking and submit and kiss the rings of these leftist identitarians, you get raked over the coals. They'll destroy you. They'll destroy your whole life. That's what they want to do. And that's what they're trying to do to Candace Owens by trying to link her to Adolf Hitler or link her to that shooter in New Zealand. And the people that are the most brainwashed and people with the double-digit IQs, they eat it up. They eat it up. They will let the media, the lying leftist media, lead them off a cliff. They spent the last 2.5, 3 years believing in this Russian hoax. They believed in the Covington Catholic story. They believed in Jussie Smollett. They still believe Jussie Smollett. That's terrifying. People still believe and defend Jussie Smollett. That is disgusting. It is insane. But that's where we are. That's why I have a YouTube channel, because I was called to this mission. Because there are not enough voices that are speaking out. There's a war on truth. There's a war on reality. There's a war on biology. There's a war on everything that is observably true. There's a war on it. And that's why I say it's a spiritual war, because Satan is the father of lies. And people who love lies are the ones who have the most power in this world. They're the ones spewing this out. We are living in scary times. You're absolutely right. We are living in scary times. But you know what? The truth stands on its own. The truth is infinite. The truth will survive. The truth will always win. A lie has to continue feeding on itself. It has to. That's the only way. So I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I don't want it to be too long. I see I got plenty of people watching. Thanks to all the new subs. Thanks to everybody the super chat. Please make sure that you are liking my videos. Make sure you hit the bell notification. I finally got the shadow ban lifted. And like I said the other day, I could tell the shadow ban was lifted because I got a lot of angry blacks and racist white Democrats leaving comments, which tells me I'm reaching people who disagree. I'm not just preaching to the choir, which I don't like to do. It's nice to know that a lot of the majority of people agree with me, but I like to reach people who, you know, they see it differently, because it's the best way for us to move forward. Is we have to elevate the discourse. We have to be able to have discussions again. But again, the left doesn't want to have discussions. They want to silence one side. They want to crack down on dissent, and they want to name call. And it's about to rain. I'm gonna have to close the sunroof. They want to name call, right? They want to use these terms to smear you, like freaking racist, white supremacist, neo-Nazi, bigot, xenophobe, homophobe, Islamophobe, transphobe. They use that because it's a way for them to avoid dealing with the truth. It's a way for them to avoid dealing with someone who's trying to present them with logical, factual, correct information. It's a way for them to tuck their tail and go the other way. You know, they don't want to have discussions, but we have to have discussions to move forward. So I'm looking for my sane, classical liberal friends, the moderate Democrats. They're still out there. They just got to take their party back. Their party's been hijacked by the far left. Most of my friends, like I told you guys before, most of my friends are still on the left. They're still on the left, but very, very few of them are leftists. They hate Trump. That's fine. Okay, cool. We can get past that. Nobody's saying you got to love Donald Trump. But you need to at least be able to agree that your party was hijacked by leftists. And they've taken it off the deep end to the point where they're like, what we need to do is tear down the existing walls, because they're always trying to oppose Trump. They've committed themselves to opposing Trump. So they take the extreme opposite position of Donald Trump. If Donald Trump said oxygen is good, I recommend people breathe it, they'd be like, they would start covering their faces. Donald Trump says we need to build a wall to save lives. Then Beto O'Rourke goes out there like a doofus and says, actually, walls end lives and we need to tear down our existing walls. Who does that? Who says that? That doesn't make any sense. 0 sense. Donald Trump says unborn babies are people. We should probably stop late-term abortion. Democrat response? Actually, a mother should be able to abort a baby during birth. And she should be able to abort the baby after it's been born. Like it's living outside of the womb. It's breathing on its own. We should be able to kill the baby then. They always take the extreme opposite position. It's not healthy. Trump derangement syndrome. It sounds like I make fun of it a lot. I'm calling it out because we need to expose it. It's not healthy. I've never seen this in my life. Trump derangement syndrome. People need to see psychologists. You need a shrink. It's not healthy to waste this much time and spend this much energy hating one person. And not even hating them based on your conclusions. It's based on a media, a propaganda machine that has told you to hate somebody. Somebody who's made your life better. I could understand their arguments if Trump were actually destroying the country, tearing it apart, if jobs were going away, if more people were homeless. No, less people are on food stamps. More people have jobs. There are more jobs than there are people to fill jobs. North Korea stopped testing nuclear weapons. I'm pretty sure that's the right side of history, at least for now. I mean, only time will tell what the right side of history is, but there's clear indicators. I'm pretty sure it's a good thing that Donald Trump got Kim Jong-un to the negotiating table, right? I'm pretty sure it's a good idea that jobs are coming back into the country. It's probably a good idea to build a wall. It's probably a good idea to reconstruct our immigration policies so they're not incentivizing migrants to come up here. But no, the left has to take the opposite position. They're like, actually what we need to do, since Donald Trump wants to fix immigration, we need more immigration. That's the opposite position. It doesn't make sense, but it's because they want to oppose Donald Trump. So they've gone off the deep end mentally, and they're embracing all these radical extremist, un-American agendas and positions, which is why people are fleeing that party. It's a mass exodus. Nobody wants to be over there. That's why they want 16-year-olds to vote. That's why they want illegals to vote, because they have nobody else. They've got their brainwashed base that watch Rachel Maddow every night, clinging to the TV, the tail lie vision, listen to all these lies. Yes, we're waiting on the Mueller report, and we think there's some fine print on the back page that is going to indict. It's going to be damning on the Trump administration. They've been sounding the alarm for 2 years, like this presidency is a national emergency. Everyone duck for cover. They're conspiracy theorists. But, oh no, Alex Jones, we got to ban him. Alex Jones needs to be deplatformed because he's the real conspiracy theorist, right? We need to ban, who else? They just banned someone else yesterday, Hunter Avalon. They're deplatforming anybody. But it's because they have Trump derangement syndrome, and anybody that doesn't agree that Donald Trump is the second coming of Adolf Hitler, well, they're a bad person. They're immoral. We need Tucker Carlson gone. We don't need Judge Jeanine spewing this hate. Ilhan Omar, there's another example of how they take the extreme opposite position. She says some disparaging things. Some will argue it's fair to criticize our support for Israel. I don't even get into that debate because it's not important to me. I care about this country. So Ilhan Omar goes out there and says crazy stuff. People condemn it. People go out and say stuff like, all right, Ilhan Omar, that's not okay. You can't say that. Also, maybe it is true that Sharia law is antithetical to the Constitution, like Janine Pirro said, okay? They did that. But then what the Democrats and the left do, they say, oh, you're criticizing Ilhan Omar? You're an Islamophobe. That's it. You're an Islamophobe. You don't care about Islamic people. You're freaking out on her. They don't address what she said or what she did because the left is full of double standards. Without double standards, they have none at all. And that's it, guys, because I could rant for like 3 hours. This pisses me off, but I understand that, like I said the other day, they're shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic. This is a sinking ship. The Democrat Party is toast. They're done. It's happening. They can't unfire this gun. Candace Owens is effective, which is why she's being attacked by black people who claim to be pro-black, like Tariq Nasheed. He won't agree with her on some of the stuff. He's like, let me go to Twitter and let me put the message out to the world that she's an inferior black. She's not a real black person because she claimed to be Caribbean on her, whatever that freaking website was from back in the day. Like, let's attack her. We're not unified as blacks. We're unified as Democrat blacks, but we're not unified with black conservatives. That's what I'm talking about. That Democrat hypocrisy, the double standards, the fakeness. But then they want to cry racism all the time. The real racists are in the Democrat Party on the left. The most hateful, bigoted, mean-spirited, vitriolic people I've ever met in my life are registered Democrat. That is a fact. Some of the nicest, most caring people that I've met, at least in the last 2 years, all wear Make America Great Again hats. Truth is stranger than fiction. Riddle me that, leftists that might be watching this, that might downvote. You freaking haters, you nut jobs. You better figure this out, man, because Trump derangement syndrome is not healthy. And you might have terminal Trump derangement syndrome. So that's it, guys. I'm wrapping up for sure this time. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, like, share, subscribe. Follow me on all social media accounts. And I'll catch you in the next live stream.